Round 1, ready, go!
Part of the reason why we fighting game players keep coming back to fighting games is because of how stylish the genre is. Whether it be the cartoonish and hip-hop infused style of Street Fighter, the brutal, ridiculously ultra-violent fun of Mortal Kombat, or the anime and heavy metal aesthetic of Guilty Gear, you'd be hard-pressed to find another genre that is more expressive than this. But if there's one fighting game series that just exhibits and oozes style from its very core, it's the King of Fighters series. And while the King of Fighters may not currently be experiencing the same popularity as Street Fighter or Mortal Kombat, especially here in the West, its influence and impact can still be felt even to this day. Hi, my name is Jay, and these are the Gaming Essentials. Now, you may not have ever played the King of Fighters games, but it's a series I have no doubt you've heard a lot about recently. Whether it be because of Terry Bogard invading Street Fighter 6 and Super Smash Bros., or because of Geese Howard being a guest character in Tekken 7, the King of Fighters series has gained a lot of popularity in recent years. And a lot of that popularity came with developer SNK simply sitting back and letting others do the work. So many other fighting game franchises are including King of Fighters characters in their games for good reason. During the golden age of the arcades in the 90s, fighting games are exploding in popularity thanks to games like Street Fighter 2 and Mortal Kombat. But even during that time, developer SNK was still separating itself from the competition with other arcade games like Samurai Showdown and Metal Slug. Even though those aforementioned fighting games like Street Fighter and Tekken eventually won the popularity contest over the King of Fighters, the King of Fighters still provided a memorable experience for those who would later shape the fighting game genre. All you have to do is watch Super Smash Bros. Creator Masahiro Sakurai's gameplay deep dive on Terry Bogard to see how much of an impact this series has had on fighting game fans and developers. And even though I've already inducted one fighting game, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, into my gaming essentials list, I think there's room to fit in another. Yes, I am a big fan of fighting games, so I am being biased here. But I think there's a lot here that game developers and we as players can learn from, as the King of Fighters shows how to make artistic and simple games that can last for generations. Rather than highlighting just one game like I usually do, I'll be highlighting an entire video game series for this video. This not only speaks to how consistently good this franchise is, but also to how there's no one defining King of Fighters game. So no matter if you've been a fan since the 90s, or have just jumped into this with the newest entries, grab a few quarters and join me as I talk about why the King of Fighters series is a gaming essential. While the core design of fighting games is still here, two people beat one another up in a virtual arena, and maybe even in real life if they really get upset, what separates the King of Fighters from other fighting games is its adherence to make everything so cool. I'd argue that Street Fighter has the best roster in fighting games. The sheer variety of fighters is all over the place, from over-the-top sumo wrestlers to stretchy-limbed yoga practitioners and whatever necro is. There is a character for everyone with a different personality. Or if you don't have a personality, you just pick plain, boring old Ryu. But while King of Fighters might not have as bizarre and cartoony characters as those on the Street Fighter roster, what makes the King of Fighters roster stand out are its designs. From the more well-known characters of Kyo, Iori, Mai, and Terry, to the lesser-known fighters like Brian and Lucky, these characters are also well-designed and easy to understand that players only need a few seconds to comprehend and fall in love with them. Take a look at the character of King, for example. I know she technically originates from another SNK game, as do numerous other characters in the King of Fighters, but bear with me because I think, for the most part, this is what a lot of people know her for. King is a character all about breaking gender norms. Just look at her name. Her stance is firm, utilizing a traditional Muay Thai fighting style. Her clothing and hair exude a more masculine or androgynous aura, wearing a purple vest and suit pants, and short blonde hair. And she tries to put on a more masculine air so that she's taken more seriously by her male counterparts. Even then, however, there's also still an air of femininity and beauty to King. With a more angular and teardrop-shaped facial structure, fancy earrings, and a smoky but also playful and flirtatious voice, King is someone who doesn't fit into traditional societal norms, but is someone unique, strong, beautiful, and entirely herself.
Baby.
Or take the character of Leona Hydern as another example, also another personal favorite of mine. How do you immediately convey to players that she's reserved, comes from a strong military background, but is also efficiently powerful? Have her stance be wide, completely upright, and have her hands out at the ready at all times. Have her special moves be quick, swift strikes that can catch opponents off guard. Whenever she's in the background, have her looking away, completely focused on herself and getting mentally prepared. And show her constantly fixing her outfit, taking off her jewelry, and eliminating any apparel that might get in her way. That's the power of SNK and the King of Fighters. The player knows all they need to know about these unique and flashy characters within just a few seconds, and without the character not even needing to say anything. And so many characters in this series are like this. Mai Shiranui is a lighthearted, playful ninja girl who's still very deadly. And gameplay-wise, she boasts evasive movement, which can quickly turn on the offense. Terry Bogard is a carefree roaming dude with a good heart and is always looking out for others. And in combat, he's a well-rounded character with a slight proclivity towards getting in close to his opponents. And Athena? Well, she's Athena. There aren't too many extremely oddball characters that are literal tanks or beds that walk upright. While that might be a detractor for some, I think it also shows the strength of SNK and its ability to create compelling character designs that are easy to understand, look cool, and are still human. Not only do fighting games need to attract audiences quickly and get them to fall in love with these characters, but King of Fighters is different because it also requires players to fall in love with many characters. Rather than utilize the traditional 1 vs 1 approach of other fighting games, King of Fighters is different because matches are traditionally played in a 3 vs 3 formats. Rounds are still fought one-on-one, but having to develop a team of 3 different characters, master them, and also select them in the best order adds a whole new level of strategy to the game. Do you put your best character up front and try to get an early lead? Or do you save them for the anchor position in case you're behind and need to catch up? Do you pick 3 characters of similar strategies and playstyles? Or do you pick 3 widely different characters with different approaches to keep your opponent on their toes? Or do you pick Mai, B. Janet's, and Blue Mary simply because they're hot? Don't worry, we all pick our characters to some degree simply because of their looks.
What a stellar fight! These two know how to rumble! Winner!
Even though the series only uses 4 buttons for attacks, there's still a lot of depth and complexity to combos and movement. Gaining proficiency in this series can take time, as players have to string together moves within strict input windows. And these moves can be difficult to pull off, with crazy input motions. Not only that, but if players really want to get good, they'll also have to get a grasp on the game's movement system, with its different rolls and hops that can dodge attacks. While these maneuvers can be risky to pull off, with badly timed rolls leaving the player wide open, they also feel great when done correctly, as players can get in quickly on their opponents and pull off punishing attacks.
That was a nail-biter! Keep an eye on this matchup! Winner!
And how can I not talk about the King of Fighters without mentioning the game's hype-inducing soundtrack, anime-influenced aesthetic, and tough-as-nails bosses? These elements aren't necessary to make a great fighting game, but it's what helps put the package together. Even though I can sometimes be annoyed by these games lacking robust stories, or not having somewhat basic arcade endings, I can cut these games some slack because really, it's got it where it counts. With so many cool characters, mechanically rich combat, and a design philosophy focused on making the player feel hyped, the King of Fighters shows how games don't need a whole lot to be fun. While the King of Fighters might not be the most feature-rich fighting game series there is, its impact and legacy go beyond the genre. Just look at other games like Marvel Rivals and Overwatch, and how those games use a similar design philosophy of easily understandable characters that can quickly convey their gameplay styles simply by their appearance. The fighting game genre might not be the most biggest, and the King of Fighters might not be the most popular fighting game there is. But what this series shows is how style really can reign king over substance. This year marks the 30th anniversary of the King of Fighters. With 15 mainline entries and countless other spin-offs and crossovers, the legacy of this series is one of constant evolution and simple designs that are nonetheless fun. Whether you're a fan of the 2D sprite era, like in the King of Fighters 98, the gorgeous drawings and animations of the King of Fighters 13, or love the mechanically rich system of the King of Fighters 15, this is a series with a cool factor that never ends, which is why the King of Fighters series is a gaming essential. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked this video, feel free to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below telling me which is your favorite King of Fighters game and why it's KOF 2002. New videos come out every week, so come back soon for even more on the best that video games have to offer.